A big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
Look at what I got. Yes, I know this is a plastic bag, but what's inside? I paid 300 euros for it. Morrison, you gotta check out what I got now, man. I know you like steaks, but this is the one.
Tell me, first of all, is it expensive?
It's 300 euros. But I took it out of your salary.
Yeah. Funny.
And it's kind of weird for me too, but to be honest, because I buy a lot of meat and this isn't sponsored. No. I pay this out of my own money. I consciously have no meat sponsor.
Come on.
You want to see it, right?
Yeah.
I saw the picture of it.
We had more expensive meat before.
Yeah.
So what is it?
This is from Japan. So it's raised in Japan. It's bred in Japan, it's fed in Japan, it's butchered in Japan, and it comes from the region Kagoshima.
Okay.
We had Japanese steaks here before.
Yeah.
But most of the steaks that we had were ribeyes or something like that. And then ribeye naturally has more marbling in it.
Yeah.
But this is typically a super lean cut on a cow. Because this, I'll unpack it.
Just show me, man.
You want to see it. I'll just take it out of the package. This, as you can see, is a tenderloin. A piece of tenderloin. This is the most tender piece of any cow.
Yeah.
But now we have one that is crazy special because this is like an A5 BMS12, and that's the classification of the amount of intramuscular fat that's in this piece. Normally, if you would look in this end and you would take a look at it, it will be completely red. There will be no fat whatsoever. It will be the leanest thing you've ever seen. But now, this is the holy grail of holy grails. This is 800 grams of pure goodness. And you shouldn't buy this unless you want to know what it tastes like. And
I want to know.
Yes, but would you buy it?
No, but you buy it for me. Find a good friend.
Find a really rich friend. Oh man, I think we should just start cooking this thing.
Yeah.
And get like, I want to eat it, I want to taste it. Normally with a cut like this, I would start prepping it. But with a piece for 300 euros, you better expect that it's absolutely perfect. You shouldn't have to do any work. Like this one, it's already perfect. The butcher did a perfect job. It presented it perfectly. There's nothing to do here. And if it's not perfect, you better ship it back because that's no bueno. You can't pay 300 euros for something that's not perfect. This is what it needs to be. This is what it needs to look like. But now that we got this perfect piece of meat, we can't just throw it on the grill and hope that it turns out perfect because that would be just crazy. That would be stupidity. We got to think this through. This is not a ribeye. This is a tenderloin. Normally, I would reverse sear it. So I would let it come up to temperature, rest it, and then finish to sear it off. But this is something special, and that's why I want to give it a special treatment. I'm going to flip the reverse sear around and sear it first. So I'm going to create a crust. And normally with this piece, that would be the biggest no-no you can think about. But because we have all of that beautiful intramuscular fat, we can actually pull this off, and that will make this piece even more unique than it already is. I already set my Napoleon P500 Phantom up with a grill plate because this is where the magic's gonna happen. Just like in the bedroom, Morrison. You know it. Because we're looking for that crust and we want to give this steak the maximum opportunity, and we don't need barbecue flavor on this steak. We don't need it to be crazy barbecue with smoke and all kinds of weirdness. We want honest flavor. This is a delicate steak and I can't repeat that enough. So just the grill plate, and we're going to fire up the burners underneath the grill plate and let it come up to temperature. We're gonna give it around 20 to 30 minutes. Yes, you heard it right, until that plate is super, super hot. Not before, not after, when it's super hot. So I think 30 minutes. That's basically, we can have a cup of coffee. As you can see, my griddle plate is searing hot. The smoke's coming off. I just wiped it off with a little bit of oil, and now I'm going to put another layer of oil on. And we want to have an oil with a high smoke point because this thing is super hot. Now I'm gonna put this on straight away, and I'm gonna be moving it all the time, because what I wanna do is I wanna create a crust as thick as I possibly can, because that's gonna make this steak really special. I'm giving it a little bit of time, but I can already smell the beef. Let's take a look at this. It's still connected to the plate. I'm just gonna give it a little longer because it's building up that crust. If you can't move it, then don't move it. There we go. Now it's disconnected from the plate. Let's take a look at the bottom. Look at that, and that's a crust. Now we're gonna turn this around. Start searing the other side. How do you know when you build up enough crust? Well, you're looking at the color. I want to see a dark brown color. This is the caramelization color. Any further than this, you're going to have burned meat. We definitely don't want burned meat. Of course, the little light brown spots here could do a little bit more, but you know, this is where it makes contact. This is where the meat doesn't make contact with the grilling plate. So we're just going to have to make do with this. Absolute beautiful crust. This is still a little bit light brown for me. I want to go a little further on that. So we put it back on the grill plate, let it sear off just that little bit more. There we go. It's nice and seared on all sides. We have that beautiful Maillard effect, and Maillard effect is the browning of meat, the sugars turning into like caramel that's in the meat. So that's why you have that brown effect, and that brown effect, that's flavor. Now you can clearly see we didn't cook this all the way through, but still I'm taking it off the grill. And here is when we start talking about perfection. We don't want it to cook too far. So I'm taking it off the grill, putting it on a cold surface, and I'm going to give it the opportunity to stop the cooking process. Because the temperatures that we were cooking on just now on the grill plate were way too hot and way too fast. If we put this on indirect heat now, we're not gonna have perfection. We're just gonna slowly let it continue to cook. But I want perfection because this is the perfect steak. Cool down, stop the cooking process, then return the cooking process when the temperatures are already cooled down, and then slowly, well, we'll get to that when this is done. We're gonna give it around 10 minutes or so. I switched all of the burners up except for one because I want a low temperature, and as you can see we're in between 100 and 150 degrees Celsius. So I'm guessing we're at 120. Now I got this hot plate still in here with a lot of fat and a lot of oil. We're taking that out, otherwise this oil is going to turn into smoke and give a bad flavor to our steak. Then I'm going to put in my high level grill grate. It's basically what they call a warming rack, and this is going to create a lot of distance between my heat source and the meat that we're going to put right there. And I'm putting my steak opposites to the hot burner with the thickest part pointed towards the hot burner, because the thickest part is going to need the most amount of cooking time and therefore can do with a little bit more heat, where that little point here, that's going to take a lot less energy, so I'm going to point it away to the coldest spot. Now let's close the lid and let this cook. Now I gotta make sure that it's cooked the same temperature all over the place, and that means resting it a little bit. By resting, I really mean letting the temperature of the steak become the same overall in the steak. Because in this case, I don't really need to rest it. We cooked it at a temperature of around 110, 120 degrees Celsius, which is so low that resting doesn't apply. But we need to wrap it up in foil. And I'm using a thick aluminum foil to wrap it into. So by packing it up, we're containing all of the heat that's in the steak and let the heat travel within the steak to all corners of the steak. So this way it's getting cooked evenly without applying more heat to it and accidentally overcooking parts of the steak. Important, of course, is that the meat is still warm to the touch. You don't want to eat a cold steak. But after 10 minutes, and some good thick aluminum foil, and now we got this thing ready. Now we can start thinking about plating this up. It looks good, but we need the finish right. So I got a nice dinner plate, something that looks cool, and to most people, well, they don't care, but I kind of like it. I like it when it looks good. So let's slice into this steak and take a look inside. Look at that, that's absolute perfection. What a beautiful steak. So juicy, so tender. You can almost still see the marbling, the fat's still there in the steak. It rendered down just that little bit, keeping that steak juicy, but I just need to touch it and drops of fat and juice spill down the steak. Oh man, I'm feeling like one of this. I'm feeling like a little kid, that's how I feel. So super excited. Now I'm gonna cut off another part of it and I'm going to plate it up. But here it comes. Now we actually gotta season it with salt. I am using Maldon salt. This is pyramid flake salt, which is the best salt to use on a steak, period. And I'm gonna roll the side of my steak onto that bed of salt. And the flakes is gonna stick on my steak. Don't worry about having too much of this flake salt on your steak, because it's such a light salt. And also, I know for a lot of people that might sound weird, but what that means is that the steak, the amount of saltiness that this salt releases to the steak is just very, very gentle. Look at that, now that looks perfect. But we shouldn't forget about the sauce that I made in the meantime. This is a classic version where we start by dicing fine a shallot, then putting a lump of butter in a hot pan, let it melt, add the diced shallot to it, and let the shallot turn completely soft. It should almost disintegrate. Add green peppercorns to it, and if you're like me, you like the heat, so you add plenty of green peppercorns. Give the peppercorns plenty of time to release their flavors into your sauce. Once that's done, we're gonna add beef broth. Let it come to a boil, then add cream. Let it come to a boil again and let it reduce down. Once you got that sauce-like consistency, it's done and it's ready for our steak. Nothing fits this steak better than a good sauce. A green pepper sauce. Look at it. So beautiful, so velvety. Of course, I want some contrast to this steak. So I'm picking my greens, and what I do when I pick my greens, I just shake down the whole bag of greens into a tray and I select the most beautiful ones that I can find to make it look as good as I can. Now you can use anything you want because this is just decoration. You better make it look good, that's the important part. Secure it under the steak. There we go, and this is giving the steak a little bit of contrast. This is my Mona Lisa. Look at this plate. I can see people lining up for this. It could happen.
This could be the best steak I've ever had. Not sure. I mean, I still have to try it, but it could be. This is almost, this is a crime to eat it. It's so soft. Wow. Wow.
All right, there we go, without the sauce.
Never had something like that.
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say how good I actually am. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend you by being like the idiot that says he's really good. If you can get a crust on a tenderloin, you got skills. But if you get like the steak to be perfect like this, my hat goes off to you.
It has such a distinguished flavor. You will never experience that somewhere else. There's no way you'll get that from a normal steak. And Eva is behind me, she's getting insane. Because she knows.
She knows.
It's like, it's a primal instinct.
I would have been so sad if I would have screwed the steak up, and it almost happened. Because there was a package guy coming in, and there was a realtor coming in, and all kinds of people storming in, kids running around, dogs attacking us. So much distraction, and all I want to do is cook the perfect steak. Let's eat this thing. I think we can do it. 800 grams of pure goodness.
We can't overtop this.
I'm going to do it.
What?
I'm going to give a piece to the dog.
Yeah? You like it? Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, let us know. We need to know. we made a different video. Morrison said, hey, time to mix it up. And then the editor Jim came in with the perfect ideas. And then I just did my work. I grilled a steak. I do what I do.
We thought we have to show you more. You wanted to see more.
Yeah,
right?
so if you enjoyed this style video, let us know. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, big thumbs up to the patrons and the YouTube members. Hope to see you guys next time. Until then.
No. The recipe, man. The recipe is down under.
That's right. And it's always there.
In Australia.
No.
It's always in Australia. Alright.
See you guys next time.
Until then.
Eet smakelijk.
And keep on grilling.
That's right.